Hello, my name's Sean and I'm going to be walking you through my Ableton project and just talking about the different scenes, the different sounds and effects and how I key mapped and MIDI mapped them just for ease of performance. So as you can see here on the right, I've key mapped them to the number keys on the right side of the keyboard. The reason I've done this just for these scenes here from 1 to 10 was because I had different mute signals routed to the keys at the top of the keyboard, meaning that I could just kind of switch them on and off for different sections. So next I'll be moving on to the different effects and things that I MIDI mapped. The majority of my MIDI mapping was for this vocal sample here, which was a big live performance aspect of the project. So I had it mapped to the filters on the keyboard, meaning that I could just kind of rotate these around for different effects throughout the track. I also had the different signals here that you can see, the mix, gate and such, MIDI mapped to the pad on the top right of the keyboard, which was actually a C note. Meant that when I was improvising I couldn't play that C, or else it would just kind of change the parameter of the plugin. But if I was doing it next time, then that would be something that I would probably rethink. So next I'll just be talking about the order in which I kind of created all the sounds. So it started with this bass sound that I recorded and looped, which is an idea I had in one of the first Ableton classes. You can see the effects just down the bottom here. I wanted it to be sort of light, not too heavy on attack, just to kind of sit so that it could loop pretty much the whole song. The next thing that I had was this sort of bass drone that was quite atmospheric, and I wanted it to just kind of sit at the bottom of most of the loops, just to kind of add that extra depth to it. The next thing that I added was the drum rack, which I again played and just cut for sections like this to add more effect and things like that, and to show just kind of the progression of the track. So I used a drum rack for this and just kind of chose the bass, snare and hi-hat that I liked. And the same with most of the tracks, there's just some light compression on majority of them just to kind of keep them at equal level. Next thing was these chord progressions, just two different ones that I could choose from, just to kind of again split between sections, and then the second time playing through them is when I improvised over using this sound here. The delay on this was perfect. I didn't really change much of the effect. It was just a sound that I found and immediately knew that it was something that I wanted to add more to the live performance aspect of the track. So yeah, you can just kind of see that there, and I played it through these two chord progressions, and then once again just at the end. So this then led us into the sort of bridge section where I had my keys, strings, vocal sample that I was cueing in and out, which I felt was just kind of good for breaking the song up a little bit, because it's quite fast paced a lot of the time, so this kind of leaves you space to breathe and things like that. And then just going back into the track again with these loops brought back in. Then I went back to scene 1, then finished off at scene 7, and then again, just brought this improvised sort of melody in the last sort of 2 bars of the track, just to kind of, and the last sort of 4, just to kind of round off the tune, and that was that.